Hello, hello, and thanks for stopping by. This is Enter the Matrix for the Xbox, developed by Shiny Entertainment and published by Atari and Infogames, back in 2003. It was also released for the PlayStation 2, the GameCube, and Windows. This one sold well, apparently. I guess it sold like 5 million copies. It was released 2 years after the first Matrix movie, and apparently there was a bit of a race to get this one out right before the second movie came out, The Matrix Reloaded. This came out actually a day or two before that sequel came out, and I imagine getting this one out was pretty important to the success of this game. When the second movie dropped, it was a blockbuster. It was a big release, and now The Matrix was big on everyone's mind again. This would be, of course, the right time to ride that wave, and I think it helped sales. I mean, 5 million copies is nothing to shake a stick at, especially for a game that ultimately reviewed poorly. Here's the thing with this game. It has a lot of handling problems. There's a lot to dislike here, but if you're a fan of The Matrix, I think you're going to squeeze some fun out of this one. As far as the plot goes, you play one of two characters in this game. You play the supporting characters of Ghost or Niobe. Depending on which one you choose, they're actually going to have a different level progression. I think that's a good idea, and it does help with replay value. But the bad part about this game is that you get to play the supporting characters of Ghost or Niobe. The focus of the movies, that's on who? The character of Neo. But here, you're denied being able to play him. That's just kind of a bummer from the start. It's like having a Superman game and not being allowed to play Superman. The plot takes place right before the beginning of the Matrix Reloaded movie, and it shows you events that happened off-screen, and there are some that actually happened during the film. In this one, you get a data drop that contains a message for the home base. There's an impending attack, and you need to get the information reported back. So you're going to run through stacks of events, killing people, just trying to get to the end of a level. There's nothing spectacular in terms of level design, nothing spectacular in terms of realism as to how buildings are built, or tasks. You have to survive. You got to shoot, and shoot some more. The game also contains about an hour of live film footage that was shot just for the game, and is actually considered canon to the Matrix stories. It's some additional detail to events that happened off-screen, right around the time of the second film. The Xbox was using DVD storage as its medium, and it really took advantage of it in this case. There's plenty of space for live video, and I mean, this was the generation where games were being given space to just utilize however they wanted. They use it plenty here. Now, is the story any good? Meh, I don't know. The real important stuff happens in the movie. It's interesting, but nothing too spectacular. Now, as far as gameplay for the story, I don't think you can get out of this game. No, I know you can't get out of this game without thinking that this was a rushed job. The handling is rough, and it's not intuitive. It's awesome that you get to beat up people with a bunch of martial arts moves and flips and kicks, and you get to use guns and grenades to make your way through these stages. It all sounds great in theory, it's awesome on paper, but if you can't execute the offense when you want to execute the offense, it gets frustrating. And you can't change the mapping of the controller. You get what you get. This is non-negotiable, and it is definitely not optimized. You also have a bullet time meter. You get to slow down time, and this lets you dodge bullets and perform extra special moves to help you defeat opponents. The bullet time is neat and all, okay? I like it, but by the time this game was released, there were other games that use this, and they do it better. Like Max Payne. It really worked in that game. With this game, it's just not coupled with good handling. And I think really successful games offer you a strong sense of control. Here, I find myself just doing things I don't want to do. Suddenly, I'm leaning up against a corner or a wall. Or maybe I start running up a wall when I don't want to. It can be really frustrating in that regard because it really slows down your progression. The excitement of this game is supposed to be around punching, kicking, diving, and performing these crazy offensive bullet time moves. But when you're suddenly not doing what you want to do, it drives you nuts. Your punches and kicks, they don't always seem to make contact with enemies, and you're going to find yourself pointing in just a slightly wrong direction, and now you're missing your target. When we talk about guns, man, trying to aim with a sniper rifle is problematic at best, and I hate it. I'm usually down for a good sniper level, but this one, it's painful to get this into place and know how to use the gun. You have to zoom in and out with the buttons. The reticle doesn't look quite right to me. It's clunky. It's just a mess to handle. You're also constantly running in this game, and the way you run, the way you steer, it just handles odd. It's splashy. Maybe jerky is a good word for it. I think you mostly adjust to it, but I think that's my problem. You need to adjust. The game just doesn't offer you good handling from the start. You have to figure out how to get by with these controls. I find there's far more button mashing in this game than there should be, as opposed to just getting good at controlling the timing of your offense. I think the character models they're okay for the time frame, but they do look really strange at certain angles. They suddenly look blocky, or they look stiff or flat, and two-dimensional. And certain movements just look bizarre. They chose weird animations. When you climb ladders, which you do plenty in this game, it just looks strange to me. It's just not a smooth and consistent experience overall. There are also plenty of places where it's just not obvious what to do to get through the levels. And although it saves the game a lot, I find myself wishing there were waypoints. There are certain levels where you find yourself killing all these guys and you get to the end, then you miss a jump over a small little chasm because the handling is so terrible. And then you have to start back at the beginning of the level. It's a bummer. Now, the standard levels are you running around trying to be a badass, but there are also driving levels occasionally. Once again, it's something that would make sense on paper to break up monotony, and it should be fun, but it is poorly executed. The vehicles handle terrible. You are driving an awkward box through a level. It's just rough. There are also things in this game that you can unlock. There's a hacking mode available from the opening menu. You get codes, and you can use these codes to get various unlocks of the game. There's apparently a 2-player game mode that you can unlock. Now, I haven't unlocked it personally. I never really cared for it, but from what I hear, it handles just as difficult as the game. But it is awesome that it was included, just to give you the option. I mean, I can see goofing with friends over this just a little bit. Now, I think overall this one is tough to kind of rate. Is it good? Is it bad? Man, it handles really poorly. And at times, it might even be considered easy. But it is the Matrix, and as a result, it's kind of something worth mashing buttons over. I know this is at best, this is a mess of a game, but it's still the Matrix, and the franchise has a really small pool of games to play. And it's kind of like, this is all we're really going to get. I mean, there was an MMORPG out there for a while. That was canceled, and there's a story that goes along with that one, apparently. It had a major failing of an ending when they finally shut down the servers. It was a total cluster. That was great. And there's also a Path to Neo game. And this game I have somewhere in a pile, but apparently this one fixes a lot of what this game lacks. But that's going to be another review. Well, that's all I have today for Enter the Matrix for the Xbox. Tough game to rate. I think if you're a fan, you'll appreciate it more. Well, if this is your type of video, please feel free to like and subscribe and all that good stuff. Thank you so much for stopping by to take a look, and I hope to catch you on another video.